From Studio K at Foxborough Cable Access.
Saffron is essentially the stamen of a rose.
Feeling creative?
Sage has a great flavor.
Is your palate needing a new challenge? Well, let's cook with Mike Damasio.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Cook with Mike. I'm your host, Mike Damasio. Today we have a great show for you. The recipe today is called Pappardelle Alla Abruzzo. This dish comes from a restaurant in Sulmona, Italy, where my family is from, and it's from a restaurant called Il Vecchio Mauro. Now this isn't their recipe, this is my rendition of it, kind of a tribute to them because the dish was fantastic. It's let me go over the ingredients with you. So what it is we're going to make our tomato sauce from scratch. I'm going to show you a new method on how to do it rather than opening up a can and put it in a pan. I'm going to show you a way to stew our vegetables nice and quick without taking hours to do it. So we have some nice fresh tomatoes, two kinds, grape, which are nice and sweet, and some nice hothouse tomatoes, fresh basil, garlic, and onions. We're going to reduce that all with some red wine and vegetable base. While that's all cooking and stewing, we're going to have our meats going. So we have a great meatball mixture here of veal, pork, and beef, and also some nice fresh lamb. We're going to cook that all up in our pan here, and we're going to use this delicious pappardelle pasta for our dish. And we're going to top it off in the end always with our great Parmigiano Reggiano. All right, so if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's cook. All right. So we're going to start off by making the sauce. I have my pan is heating. My pasta water pan is also heating, so we're not here watching water boil. We're going to start off with a nice glug of the olive oil in this pan. We want to get it nice and hot. While we're doing that, we're going to get 4 cloves of garlic here, and we're not going to chop it up. We're just going to smash these cloves of garlic. In the end, we're going to be pureeing this whole stew mixture of the tomatoes and garlic and onion and basil and red wine and veggie broth. And it's going to come out great. So, just peeling our garlic here. So yeah, this dish, the small town of Sulmona, it's about 150 miles east of Rome. Both my parents are from that area. My dad came over when he was 14, right after World War II. And I've only been back a few times, about 3 or 4 times, but definitely fell in love with the place, especially the Abruzzo-Sulmona region. The town is very old, has an aqueduct running right through it that still supports the water system for the town. And every fountain in this small town you can drink from. Imagine doing that in Boston, going to one of the Boston City fountains and filling up your water bottle. Well, you wouldn't here, but there you do it. And it's some of the best, cleanest, coldest water you can get. So here I am. I'm just going to smash these cloves of garlic. Try to expel the most I can get out of these as they're sitting here. We're just going to let that cook up here. I got my nice little mess here. And we're going to do about a half an onion. Chop this up nice and small. So in this small town, you wouldn't believe it, it's a town of just, a few thousand people. They actually have a Michelin star restaurant in the town, which I found fascinating. It was amazing, and that will be a dish for another show. But here we're just going to add this onion in here and let that simmer with the garlic. Now we're going to do this with the tomatoes. We're going to get all this in here at the same time. And we're just going to stew it for, it's going to be in different sections. We're going to first get the tomatoes here in. Then we're going to have to pull off the skins of these tomatoes. Take out the core. But we're just going to quarter these. Same thing, take out the core. And if you have a tomato core, it's a little easier than using your big old chef knife, but kids, don't try that at home. All right, so we're going to quarter this. And we're just going to place these right in here to stew with the onions and garlic. Now I'm going to take most of these cherry tomatoes, I'm going to slice them in half. There you go. Gets them all in one shot. All right. So again, these are grape tomatoes. I think I said cherry by mistake. These are grape tomatoes. They're just a little sweeter than the cherries, and you know, they have a nice deep color with them as well. So I think you just get a little bit of a better flavor from these. And those hot house are nice and juicy and robust, and they're going to expel a lot of flavor as well in this dish. But we're going to get all of these in here. And note the little trick I'm doing here to cut them all nice and quick, just under your hand. Just go right through them. You can get them all done in a portion of the time that it would take if you try to cut them all individually. And we're just going to let this steep for a while. Let those tomatoes get nice and soft. And while we're doing that, we're going to prepare our meats. So again, I have this beautiful pieces of lamb here that I'm just going to take off the bone and dice up. They use a lamb a lot in Italian cooking, at least in the region of Sulmona. They have one of my favorite appetizers while I'm there is called arrosticini, and what it is basically little clams, little cubes of lamb on a skewer, but they come out so tender and delicate, and you know, they come skewers in a foil package. And you just, they just keep coming. They just keep bringing them to the table. It's unbelievable. All right, so we have this delicious lamb here. I'm going to cube it up nice and small. And we're going to cook this meat in a separate pan. And as our pasta is getting ready, hopefully our pasta water will boil nice and quick. Again, I'm just doing these in little half-inch squares. You can make them as big or small as you'd like. The smaller the better. That way more people get to experience the flavor of the lamb. But I think the crew here is really going to enjoy this dish. So again, this is from a restaurant called Vecchio Mauro. You can look it up online. The menu is great. The atmosphere is unbelievable. If you go in the spring, summer, or early fall, they have some beautiful outdoor dining with a great ambiance. The owners are always walking around the restaurant. It's just very festive. Everything in Sulmona seems to be a party. They celebrate everything all the time. For a small little town, there's always lots going on. And it's a great little side trip if you want to, do something that's just different from the regular touristy stuff in Rome and Milan and all the big cities. This is a great, very affordable city. Lots to do, especially if you look at their monthly calendar and see what's going on. You can have a great experience there. All right, so I have the lamb here. We're going to get our pan a little warm up so we can sear this meat. A little glug of olive oil. Check on our tomatoes. They are stewing very nicely. Once everything gets nice and soft here, we'll pull the skin off of the large tomatoes. Okay, so right now we're just going to get this lamb in the pan. The pan's not quite hot enough, but it'll heat up nice and fast with our super duper induction range cookers. So this is just the ground beef with the veal and pork all mixed into one. The pork's just going to add a nice flavor. You got nice gamey lamb. You got the 85% ground beef here, and of course the lean veal is going to just give a great flavor in this dish. And this is about 3/4 of that pound. I'm going to reserve that for later. Okay. So here we have everything working. I'm going to change my gloves now that I just touched some meat. So we have our tomatoes stewing, our water nearly boiling. Let's go. And our meat is cooking. Now we're just going to do some seasonings to get everything tasting delicious. You can hear the meat starting to sear here. Just going to keep this going. We're going to get this to cook up as quick as we can. But we're going to keep the seasonings nice and simple, salt and pepper, because our sauce here is going to have all the flavors we need with the garlic, onion, tomatoes, We're going to be adding this delicious fresh basil in shortly as well. Just want to break up the chunks of the ground beef. We want to make this so that, again, so that the deliciousness gets spread throughout the entire dish and you're not getting like this mini meatball. And the more you break it up, the more the flavors are going to get to all the pieces so that you're getting the most delicious bite in every bite you take. And here we go with a little bit of salt. And our pepper. I don't usually put too much salt when I'm doing Italian cooking, especially when I know in the end you're going to get this delicious Parmesan Reggiano shaved into the dish. Very salty, so just to control it, I never want to put too much to start my dishes. Okay, I'm just going to move our little top over to here and add some seasonings to my dish here. Crank up this little thing, again, some nice fresh pepper, a little bit of salt, and away we go. Okay, while this is all happening, we'll continue to stew those. Hopefully this happens a little faster. Continue to break up the meat here. This meat is nearly cooked already. We're going to keep all these juices in here for the pasta when we throw the pasta in here. Excuse me. So what we're doing now is, this thing keeps resetting down. Sorry everybody, my pasta water is not boiling. Okay. So we're going to continue to let this stew for a few minutes in the magic of television. We can come back in just a few minutes and hopefully everything will be all set. We're back with the magic of television. We just needed a few minutes so we weren't sitting here watching our tomatoes stew, but they are ready. As you can see, the skin is ready to fall right off of these tomatoes, and that's what I was waiting for. I want to be able to pull all these off. So because they're piping hot, I'm going to use my tongs here to pull all the skin off. We don't want that skin. It makes it tough when you're doing the sauce in the end, especially when we're going to be pureeing it. So we just want to pull all this skin off. And we're going to make a fantastic pasta dish. After this, we're still going to let it stew because I'm going to add my basil in here. And hopefully my pasta water is getting closer and closer every minute that goes by. Okay, let's see how we're doing. I think we got it just about all. We don't want anybody getting this stuff. You know how the tomato skins they get stuck to the back of your throat. We don't want any of that. Nice and clean. All right. So again, just to, you know, this sauce is, this dish is from a great little restaurant, Vecchio Mauro. Talking to, you know, my producer, I want to keep this place quiet, but Sulmona is in the central of the country. It's, like I said, 150 miles east of Rome, and you can get to any location, destination in Rome from Sulmona. It is a hub. As small of a town as it is a hub for all the trains. They come through there. You can get to Venice in 6 hours, Florence in 4 hours, Naples in 3 hours, Rome in 2 hours. So it's very convenient, very centrally located. The Germans took it over during World War II for that reason, because it was a very strategic location for being in the country. All right, so this thing temperature keeps going down. All right, so now I'm just going to take some of this beautifully fresh basil here, and I'm not going to cut it, I'm just going to tear it when I put it in there, but I do want these stems off. We don't want anything, again, nothing to make this dish challenging to eat. We want to make it nice and smooth. So we're just going to put this basil in here, nice and chunky like this, and we're going to let this stew just a few more minutes. Okay. That'll be cut out. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to add some of our red wine to our tomato sauce here. We're just going to put about a 1/4 cup, and we're going to let that reduce if it gets nice and hot. Put this away. And again, we're going to let that stew for a little bit. Our meat is looking great, nice and cooked. And we can put our pasta into the water. Now we're not going to cook this pasta till it's full cooked, because we're going to finish it in our meat dish. Okay, so we'll cook that pasta up just for a few minutes. We're going to add it to our meat, and the dish will start to come together. Okay, so again, all right, so now we're going to add some of our vegetable broth to this mixture as the wine has cooked off a little bit. I'm doing about a half a cup, and once again, we're just going to bring this up to a boil and let that reduce a little bit while we're waiting for our pasta to finish, which we are moments away from getting this pasta finished, nearly al dente. But again, we want to finish about 2 or 3 minutes before it's actually done, so that we can finish the cooking in here. We'll add a little bit of pasta water, and once we add the sauce, it'll all come together really great. So we're just going to reduce this sauce just a few more minutes, and then we're going to get to the magic. All right. So as this sauce becomes nice and reduced, pasta's looking good, and our meat is tasting excellent. You can get, even just having the ground beef, you can still taste the gaminess of the lamb incorporating on all the meat. So what a delicious dish. All right. We're going to take our sauce here. We're going to put it into a bowl. And we're going to puree all this beauty. Ooh. All right, we got all the deliciousness in our bowl here with only minimal mess. And we're going to take our little food processor here and puree it all up. Now we don't want this to be ultra pureed. We want to make this a little chunky because it is a rustic dish. We just want to make sure all those big chunks of tomato are broken down, and some of our vegetables aren't too big anymore. That looks like a nice ragu right there. Let's put this off to the side. Okay. Our pasta should almost be done here. All right. So what we're going to do now is just going to add a little bit of our sauce to our meat. Delicious. And our pasta is going to go right in from the pan. No need to strain. That pasta water is great for thickening up the sauce a little bit, getting all that starch. Put that right in our pan here. All right, it's all coming out. I have to get myself some of those pasta chopsticks, they look like. A lot of the chefs are using those these days because everybody wants to do the fancy twist on the end. All right, so we're just going to mix this all up. Get everything incorporated together. Add some of our delicious Parmesan Reggiano. Delicious, never enough cheese. Never enough cheese. That aside. Continue to mix. Come on. And now the best part of all, the plate. All right. tremendous. Where's my little scoop-a-doop? Get a lot of this sauce now. I'm going to clean up this plate, don't you worry, folks. It's going to look beautiful when we're done. Splashy and tremendous. More Parmesan cheese. Beautiful. All right. No matter what hurdles are thrown at us here at Studio K, we always seem to come out on top. Victors. So once again, what we have here, I'll put this right here, and I think that's a good spot for our overhead camera. Let's get this out of the way. Right here we have our Pappardelle Alla Abruzzo from a restaurant in Sulmona, Italy, called Il Vecchio Mauro. It is a beef and lamb ragu with pappardelle pasta. Very easy to make. A few little hiccups here in Studio K, but we persevered and succeeded in the end. Now it's time to give it a try. Let's see how we do. Oops, wrong drawer. A little bit of everything. Oh yeah, the best part of the show. I get to eat. I think I did all right. Hopefully they were proud of me if they were here to taste it. Thank you once again for joining me here on Let's Cook with Mike. I'm your chef, host, Mike Damasio. We'll see you again next time.